Hello, good morning, Miss Ades and Pahat team. My name is Elena Christy Johan, Management Student, Cohort 2021. Before I start, please kindly turn on the caption by clicking the CC on the top right corner of the screen. I was born and raised in Denpasar, Bali. Both of my parents are Balinese descent, so very few indigenous Bali customs and traditions were explained to me. To me, Bali is a peaceful, nice city to live in. There are beautiful beaches and outstanding temples. Even though I live in Bali, which is surrounded by their custom, my family still practices traditions, Chinese traditions. The Chinese tradition that was first introduced to me is called Toi Soi Ko. That is, when a child is turned 1 year old, their parents will put various different objects in front of their child. Then let the child try to crawl and choose the few different objects in front of them. And they said that it will predict their future. There are a few different objects and each of them has different meanings. The objects that are usually used were scissors. Scissors will predict their child to be good at sewing related jobs like designers or tailor. Next, we have pen or pencils. Pen or pencils predicted them to be an office man or a woman, which means they will work in the office or in front of the computer. Then we have money. Money predicted the child to be rich or having lots of money. Next, we have fried chicken. Fried chicken predicts the child to be someone who likes to eat a lot. Then we have boiled eggs, but not so very different with fried chicken. Boiled eggs also predicted their child to be someone who likes to eat a lot. Then we have abacus. Abacus predicted their child to be good at counting money or even math. Last, we have books. Books predicted the child to be someone who likes to read books and they will be likely to be very smart. When I was 1 years old, I would crawl very fast and the first thing I took was the fried chicken and the money. Every year on our birthday, no matter where and who you're on with on that special day, you're required to eat noodles and boiled eggs. Both of these foods represents a wish. The noodle will represent long age and the boiled egg represent abundance of substances. And every time there is someone's birthday, my family would possibly cook fried noodles and boil some eggs for the family members. In my family, we celebrate Chinese New Year, or we call them Imlek. On this specific day, all the married couples were given red pockets filled with money, or it is well known as ang pao. The kids or children are very overjoyed whenever they heard about ang pao. Giving ang pao is a symbol to share the sustenances you received that year, hoping you and your family are giving abundant of sustenances in the upcoming year. After celebrating the New Year in mid-April, my family will celebrate a special day which is a grave prayer or Chinmin. It is basically like the Day of the Death. As an offering and respect to their family, the male members will come early in the morning to clean the graves of their parents and grandparents, while the family female members help in the house to boil a whole chicken, including their head, feet, and organs, half kilo of sliced meat, and shrimps. They will set a table outside in front of their house for offerings to those who already died. The offering consists of three different meats from earlier, three kinds of fruit, three pieces each. For example, three pieces of fruit, three pieces of apples, three pieces of pears, and three pieces of orange. Three small cookies, three pieces each, and three glasses of tea and white wine. After arranging the offerings on top of the table, the whole family members in the house must pray, and they're required to use three incense or dupa to say thank you and a sign of respect to their elderly. Last, I have my favorite tradition of all. Yep, I saved the best for the last. It is called Hari Bachang. This tradition is celebrated exactly 5 months after Chinese New Year. Let me explain a little history about this particular day. Once upon a time, there was a wise and kind-hearted counselor in a far, far away kingdom. He was very kind, and everybody loved him so much, even the king. One day, the king asked him for an advice from the kingdom, but for some unknown reason, the king was not satisfied, and it broke the counselor's heart. He was so devastated and killed himself by falling into the Yangtze River. The people of that area were very sad and barely believed that he jumped into the river. Many of them still believed that he was still alive, but there's no luck to it. To value his kindness, the people decided to make a rice bowl wrapped in bamboo leaf so the fishes won't eat the corpse. Since that day, many Chinese people would celebrate this heartbreaking tradition by making wrapped rice filled with meat and wrapped in bamboo leaf. Even though I was born Chinese, doesn't mean that I only pray in one religion. This implements the first principle of Panchasila. My father was born and raised in a Catholic family. They will go to church every Sunday, celebrate Christmas, while my mom, who was born and raised in Buddhist family, where they went to Vihara and used incense for praying. When my mother was pregnant with me, my father went to Apura, which a place for Hindu people to pray. At the Apura, he met a pamangku, someone with a high place in Balinese culture, and that now became one of his best friends. You can see them in the picture. He wears a black t-shirt. When the pamangku saw my mother who was pregnant, he pointed to his belly and stated, "That child is going to be my child also." So when I was born, I automatically had two dads. My parents were really open about religion, so in this case, I could still pray and acknowledge myself to be Catholic, but I also went to Vihara with my mom and my aunt, and also went to Pura to pray and say thank you. Many people around me told me that whenever they need any help, they can just go straight to me, and I will gladly help them. Even though it was not such a big help, my friends were really helped with it. Let me give you one example. One day, one of my friends reached out to me and told me that he needed my help because his team member was inactive and he still had a lot of things to cover for tomorrow's presentation. Not knowing anything about the topic, I tried my best to read and help him finish some of the chapters. He was a really sweet-hearted person, and I was so glad his presentation went well. After the presentation, he got a good score. And here's a little quote from Ronald Reagan. "We can't help everybody, but everybody can help someone." The third principle of Pancasila stated Persatuan Indonesia, which means as Indonesian people, we need to respect each others and unite together. Because I was born in Bali, automatically I need to respect and follow Balinese rules. One of my favorites is Nyepi. On this particular day, everyone that lives in Bali is not allowed to go outside except for the hospital. So the streets, the airports, and every shops are closed. It was a very peaceful and with breezy fresh air. Nighttime was the best time. You can see stars without any clouds, but on this particular day, there is no internet connections or even televisions, and you're not allowed to use lights at night. There are some times where not all of them had all of us have the same opinion, and it was completely fine and there's nothing wrong with it. Every lecturer has their own opinion, especially in choosing the class leader. This implements the fourth principle of Pancasila. One occasion, I was chosen to be the leader in one of the courses, but because of some issues, the lecturer was not satisfied with my work, and I decided to change the class leader. It was nothing to be sad about. We can always grow and learn from our mistakes. On the last Pancasila principle, we were told to work hard and never give up on our dreams. There is this one time, it just happened recently. When I first joined college, my dream and only dream was to work in an organization. This because I didn't get the opportunity when I was in high school. I was not brave and social enough to join, but I really wanted to change that in the university life. At first, the university opened recruitments for the SU Mangati. I was so nervous and unable to sleep because of the interview. I was not prepared and not ready for the interview questions, and not surprised, I got rejected. After knowing that I didn't get accepted, I know that I'm willing to improve myself. I tried to learn more things about the proposal, how to edit videos, and even tried to improve my CV. Not so long after, another event went up, and then I tried to apply it again, and I was ready this time and prepared for the questions. I even practiced some questions that might be available for the interview, and I was so shocked and happy. I feel like I'm going to jump. I feel so glad and happy. It was just an incredible feeling that I got. After doing this project, I learned so many new things while doing it. Not only more about my culture, but I also learned how to insert videos, adding PPT templates, even learning how to animate to make my slides move. I also learned about editing videos, but to be honest, I'm not really good at editing videos because after getting this project, I think getting my editing skills went up a bit. I also learned about animating pictures, how to add them, and how to resize it. Thank you for listening.